right, guys. So we're sitting here today with Marsha. This is my sister, and Monique. This is my cousin, and I'm Patrice. Eminem.
Put the shirt on it.
It's okay.
Goofy.
And M. I'm the P. I'm the and. Okay. Anyways, all right. So
Somebody.
today we're going to talk about domestic violence, and we're talking about it from our experiences with it. So I'll start first so that I can get us warmed up, right? And this is one of the reasons why I would prefer that my children wait until they're mature enough and wise enough to date, because I started dating in high school, and my boyfriend my junior year, I dated him from my junior year, my senior year in high school, freshman, sophomore, and junior year in college. So it was a 5-year relationship, and it was a very crazy relationship because he was like a serial cheater. And when I would find out, of course I would be like furious, and it would become an argument, and then it would turn into a fight. And he was abusive. And there were times when Marsha can tell you, like, I had to call Marsha one time when we were like really fighting. That was when I left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I left because I just felt like either I'm gonna kill him or he's gonna kill me, and that's not what I wanted to happen, because I didn't want to go to jail over a relationship. And on top of it, I didn't want to lose my life over a relationship. More importantly, I didn't want to lose my life over a relationship that I ultimately had no control over. When I was in high school, I guess I was a senior in high school. It might have even been my junior year. I can't really remember if it was senior year. It was senior year, because I wanted to go to prom, and he was 3 years older than me. He didn't want to go to prom because he had already graduated. And so I just was like, okay, well, I'll go with one of my friends. And that turned into a fight because he didn't want me to go with one of my friends. He didn't want me to go with anybody. And I just was like, well, what kind of crap is that? You don't want to go with me, and then you don't want me to go with nobody else, so I'm just supposed to go to prom by myself? Like, who the hell does that? Senior year. So at some point during one of those high school years, we got into a fight. I ended up with a black eye. You saw my black eye, but I never told anybody how I got a black eye. And I actually found myself lying about it and hiding it. Like, you know,
Well, you tried to lie to me, though, but I called you out on it.
I walked around school like this for like 2 weeks. I was very embarrassed, which was maybe the biggest reason why I didn't tell anybody. But also, outside of being embarrassed, I was afraid, because he would threaten me. Like, if you tell anybody, I'm gonna do this to your mom. And my mom was sick, and I was worried about her health. And you know, I believed what he said. I don't know why I believed him, but I did. I don't know why I felt like I had no options, because, you know, I did. I have uncles and, you know, family and cousins and my dad, and, you know, I had people that I could have turned to, but I didn't. I had moved out when I was in high school, so I was living with him, and I guess I felt stuck. I felt trapped. And when I finally did decide to leave, we got into a big fight over him cheating. And at that point, I was working for the Bulls. I was meeting people. He was really jealous about it. And I was in college, and I just felt like, dang, like I'm trying to live life and enjoy myself. And honestly, I knew that I wasn't going to spend the rest of my life with him. So my plan, I was just really trying to keep my body count down. I know that sounds crazy. I didn't tell anybody because I was embarrassed and I was afraid. And when I finally did decide to leave, it was just, I had gotten to the point where I was like, I was working for the Bulls and I was meeting people, and I was talking to this one guy who we were just friends, but he would be like, man, one day he said this to me, because I was like afraid to do anything, right? And he was like, man, you know what? If I didn't know any better, I would think that you were in an abusive relationship, like dude, be beating your ass or something. And I was like, huh, okay. And so that kind of made he's like, you should be enjoying yourself. You shouldn't be walking around in fear all the time. You should be having a good time. You shouldn't be worrying about, what he's doing behind your back or what he's going to do, to you. So he just gave me courage to feel like I was strong enough to decide what I wanted to do for myself. So at some point I had a conversation with my then boyfriend, like, listen, I can't do this no more. And, I'm trying to love you through this and help you be a better person. But like the next time you put your hands on me, I'm going to have to leave so that it doesn't turn into something else. And that happened, right? I called you. Mm-hmm. He's like, we were in the street, like for real fighting, and you didn't see this part. But, okay, let me back up. So,
was this before or after I came and picked you up from the wild hair?
Probably
that was after.
Okay. You picked me up after.
Okay.
I left after. I'm saying I left after. It was before.
Because Mommy was on Fargo at that point, and Ashton was already at the house. And when I got there, remember Nicole ended up coming with me at the time. Mm-hmm. And that was the last.
So that would have been before.
No, you picked me up
before it was over.
Yeah.
Right.
I went back. We would break up, or I would leave, and then I wouldn't even leave, because I felt like I really had nowhere to go, even though I really did have somewhere to go, but I just was embarrassed and ashamed. And this time, okay, so as we were together, right, while we were dating, we would go work out a lot together.
Somebody said, what are you guys talking about?
We're talking about domestic violence in relationships. Sorry. And so we would go work out a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And he took pride in training me, right? And it was kind of like an ego thing for him. We'd be in the gym, he'd be showing off how strong I was, because, he's making me lift these heavy weights, and I could do it. And I learned how to do a lot of things, and boxing was one of those things. So this day that I called you, we were in the street, and I'm my knuckles is bleeding, we're really boxing. So I had you come and get me, because I really was I can't do this anymore, right? I don't want to do this. I don't have to be worrying about what's going to happen to me. And so all of that, I say all of that to say, at a young age, dating is hard. You got into your relationship with your now ex-husband, right?
Not ex. Still my husband.
Okay. You got into your relationship at what age?
I was 25.
25. I was 16. That was from 16 to 21 for me, or maybe 20.
21, because Mommy died when you was 22.
Yeah, it was a 5-year relationship, and the final straw for me was that I thought that he would change, but ultimately, what I learned through that experience was that people don't change unless they have a strong enough reason to change, or unless they really want to change. And sometimes, even when they want to change, they're incapable of changing if they're not working through whatever it is that's creating these problems within them.
I will say that domestic violence comes from within. You accept it because of what you know. You do it because of what you know.
So you started dating at 25, your husband.
My husband. But that's not where it stemmed from. I dealt with domestic violence since I was a kid. With my husband, he's not a bad guy. Let me just say this. He's not a bad guy.
Are y'all still together?
No.
Okay.
time together.
And would that be something that you go back to? No, you should say no. Do you think he could change? Do you think he would change? Do you think?
I think he's a good person.
Yeah, but like, okay, I'm not saying that the guy that I was dating is a bad person, because he wasn't a bad person, right? Like I mean, he wasn't a bad person completely, but he had his demons that made it impossible for him to communicate effectively. Because I think that the reason why people put their hands on you in a relationship is because, give it to her.
It's vulgar.
Oh, is because they don't know how to communicate properly. And that's their way of communication, based off of what they've seen, or, you know, how angry they are and how ignorant they are, or how, like, whatever. We can go down the list of why we think it's that way. But, so Monique was telling me earlier that she saw it growing up with her parents at home.
My parents, with my brother, with my girlfriends.
Grandma just joined.
And so you seeing it, what she was saying was she saw that and she believed that it was normal.
Yeah.
Because it happened in everybody's relationship. So
Yeah.
the other side of being in an abusive relationship is being the person that is being abused. You could feel like, if you're not taught properly what a normal, healthy relationship looks like, then what you see is what you believe, and it is what you recreate, you know, in your own relationship.
Do a quick recap just in case anybody just joined.
So we're just talking about domestic violence and our experience.
No, I mean, I know it's going to gain a lot of viewers. My whole thing, I'm sitting here, it's very difficult to talk about. But if I could be a voice for somebody and help someone, I will.
Shut up!
I swear. Tell Cujo. But anyways, domestic violence is awful. I suffered, let me put it this way. I had a lot of domestic disputes. So, it wasn't him coming home saying the towels wasn't thick straight in the bathroom and he whooped my ass. It was more of, you know, I get mad, I get angry, I'm a little feisty. He hit me back.
It's not just physical, it's mental as well.
The mental, to me,
Very
now that's what
worse.
they're, but to me, the mental and verbal abuse is
Worse.
far worse than
Than
the
the
physical.
physical.
Because the physical you can heal from.
You can't always heal from the physical.
You
There's some people
can't.
that died from the physical.
But what I'm saying is,
Because I almost did.
right?
Okay,
But most
so-
of the time, a lot of people,
You can't say that. Don't say it's worse. Just say it's just as bad.
it's worse.
Probably
The verbal abuse is
It's
deeper.
deeper. Because it's a mental thing. It,
Well,
it
yeah, it
We're
literally,
going to touch on that.
it literally messes with your real
Brain.
way of thinking,
Is it on?
more so
Yes.
than, you know.
Well,
I could get a black eye, but understand, I get one, your ass is getting one back too.
She said that they break you down piece by piece.
It does.
Who's
It
that?
does. Because your self-esteem,
Marge Walls.
because your self-esteem goes. You don't have no more self-esteem.
Abuse I suffered physically, mentally, emotionally, verbally. Physically, like Marsha says, can heal at times. You may have a black eye, you may have a bruised face, punches on your body, bruises. Verbally and mentally and emotionally is a man that puts you down. And I'm not saying they don't love you. It's just they got some shit going on with them. So they feel to lift them up, they put you down.
And it's worse.
And it's
It
worse.
messes with you for your
It
lifetime.
it's worse because
you lose your
find
self-worth.
you find yourself not being worthy. You find yourself like really questioning yourself, no matter how beautiful you are or anything. You're like, okay, maybe this is the only man for me. Maybe, you know, I can't get nobody else.
Because you question who you are as an individual. and
Because
as a
you
person.
you question who you are. But it took for me to, and I debated with myself last night if I was even gonna have this conversation with my
Well,
cousins.
thank you for having it.
Because I'm really, you know, I have a book coming out, but I really debated because I don't open up like this, but I'm opening up for the reason of helping somebody else, or, you know, just giving some self-talk, and it's therapeutic.
And it's brave.
And it's very brave. I suffered a brain injury. I had subdural hematoma because somebody decided he was gonna stomp me in my head 3 years ago. And the hair I got now, I didn't have. I had 75% of my hair shaved off. I had tubes coming out of my head. I had brain surgery.
We didn't think
We
she
didn't know
was
she was
gonna
going to make it or not.
They didn't
That's
think
how
I was
bad
gonna make it. My family sent up a lot of prayers. Everyone was praying. The doctors said, you know, if we take her off the vent, because I was on a ventilator, I was in a coma, and they said, you know, if we take her off, do y'all want her to live or die? Either I live on a ventilator and be a vegetable, or I rest peacefully. My mother had to come in a wheelchair and come in the hospital room. I don't really know what
It's okay.
I don't know what she told me,
She helped you fight.
but when she rolled up in there, she had a conversation with me. I don't know what it was about. I was in a coma. But whatever it was, when she rolled up out of there, they asked her, does she want to resuscitate me? She said no. If she does not breathe on her own, let her die. And guess what? I'm here. God forbid my mother died a month later.
Yeah.
A month later, she died.
I think it was right after you
Thank
came
you.
out. I think it was
Yeah.
right after you came
I
out of
know.
coma and you was able to,
Napkin.
you know, talk and stuff like that.
And she
stayed
died.
long enough for her to
She
make
died.
it through there.
And you know, did I go back with him? Yes, I did.
'Cause
And
to
we
you,
were
it's the
we were
norm.
so afraid for you and angry and
Because I think we want to fuck him up. I think the whole family was like, I think you had to tell everybody just no, 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 because I think we had so
Yeah, no,
many
I had
of
to tell
us-
everybody no.
There was so many of us that was like, we making them calls. And that was what it was. It wasn't going to be no talking at
because
that point.
it goes further from the black eyes. You know, I have black eyes, and everybody, you got a black eye. I had a bruised face, or I had bruises on my body, and it was nothing. But when you're sitting there on your deathbed, and I literally was sitting there with staples in my head,
worried about him.
Yeah.
would have the, and guess who I asked for when I came out the coma?
You did.
I asked for him and my kids. Where they at?
Yeah, you did.
And everybody was like, what?
But I think it's because you, at the time,
I didn't
you
know.
didn't know. You didn't know what happened. So,
Yeah,
and
when-
then you had some memory loss too.
So when she first woke up, she didn't know what happened to her.
And then she had memory loss.
And
So
we-
the memory loss took.
The
Help
family
with that.
was mad that he was even trying to come around, knowing that he had done that.
No,
to
he had left. He had left.
No, he tried
He
to
was
come.
trying
Oh no, he tried to come to the
Yeah.
hospital. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, before he left, and it was scary for us because we could see the hold that he had on you. And part of that is, like you said, you know, you grew up, this was normal to you, and you didn't.
Not that deep though.
I mean,
I ain't
shit, it
never
was
seen no
normal
shit like
enough
that.
for you to go back. afterward.
You know, you stand by your man.
This is what, like, I don't know if it's what everybody is taught. It for sure is what foreigners are taught, right?
Yeah, you
Like,
stand by your man. Infidelity, cheating, having kids on you, whooping your ass. You just stand by your man, and that's your man. Stand by your man. Like, you just do it.
you think that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
When you're broken down, or you allow the circumstances to break you down so much, that's what you think you're supposed to do. But I guess the point in this today is to shed some light on the fact that it's not what you're supposed to do. You're not.
It's not cool. And you know, for a person that almost lost their life, that was in a coma for 5 days, you know, I will tell anybody, you know, I love my husband. He's not a bad guy, and I will just say that he's not a bad guy. He was just toxic with me. You have to love yourself more than you love him. You have to love your kids. You have to know when wrong is wrong. A man calling you a bitch is wrong. But you know what is wrong? Because us women, we be like, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't do that.
I do.
Not typically. I do it. I don't typically do that because I don't. For me, when I was growing up, like, I used to listen to Queen Latifah. Who you calling them? You know, and I felt like, oh no, you can't call me that.
Oh shit.
But seriously, that's where I got that from.
She also MC
I'm
like.
telling you the truth. And I listened to certain music when we were growing up was empowering music, right?
It was. Queen Latifah, MC
It gave
Light.
us strength. It gave us information. Today's music is different, which is why it's okay
Today's music is
among
garbage.
you know everybody to use certain words regularly.
But
Yeah, being called out of your
bitch,
name is
a
of
man disrespecting you and putting you down is wrong. A man making you feel less than a woman is wrong. A man putting his hands on you is wrong. Now, us as women, we shouldn't put our hands on a man. We all a little crazy. I know I'm Coye-Curry.
I'm just
She
a little
Coye-Curry.
crazy.
Extremely.
I'm just
We
a
all
little-
Coye-Curry. It's not good. But at the end of the day, a woman's hit has nowhere near a man's hit.
No effect, no.
But that being said, I know I'm a little crazy, right?
We know that.
But I had to really relearn things
Auntie Lonnie said lies you tell.
because
Who, me?
I had
Tell
to get
Auntie
to the
Lonnie I ain't
point.
lying.
I had
She
to get
said
to the
you
point where
psycho.
I understood
No, she said she's a psycho.
my
Don't
actions
talk about
are
my
just
She's so bad.
as powerful as
She
a
said I'm
guy's
a psycho.
actions, right? Like my hit may not hurt him as much, but it's still just as disrespectful.
It is. And we know you're crazy. But
And so a guy feels just as disrespected.
she's in there like,
It
no,
just
I'm not.
doesn't hurt as bad. I'm not crazy anymore.
It says there's a way to defend yourself if a woman hits you without hitting them back.
That's true.
It is. It's called leave. You know, the way to break a woman's heart is not hit them back. It's called walk
Leave.
out the door,
It's called leave 'em.
ignore
Right
their
there.
phone calls. They're gonna hurt
Ghost 'em.
more
Ghost 'em.
than you blacking their eye. They gonna be so hurt because you're ignoring them.
And that's with the man too, because the worst thing you can ever do is just remain silent. Because a woman don't like that.
At
Yeah,
the
read
end
the
of the day,
comments.
silence is golden, and you never want to get to a point that you're in the hospital. It's not worth it. It's not that serious.
But you don't want to get to basically.
Cause somebody gonna kill somebody.
If you're in a relationship that is abusive, you want to get out of that relationship.
Yeah.
You cannot correct that person. You can't fix that person.
And you can't
change that person no matter how hard you love them. They are not going to change unless they have
want to change.
unless they've learned how to change. You can want it, but you
It
also have to
is
allow it to come into
And you
it.
can't make
when
nobody.
when
Amen. Toxic relationships are a one-way trip to an awful life. You should never sacrifice your
Before
happiness to
grave.
anyone.
empower yourself, love yourself, and you know, if by chance it changes around because I don't judge nobody.
Do you honestly think that there is a possibility that they will change unless they want to? You see, a lot of our problem is that we as women stay because we feel like we can change a person, and it goes for men too. Because you got some women that are very abusive that feels like I'm gonna stay with this girl because I love her and I know I can change her and this, that, and the other. And you can't change a person that does not want to change. They have to be willing to do it on their own. It don't matter how much love you got for them.
No, you can't change a person, and that was my mistake. I thought that I could do that. I thought I could do that, and I realized I can't change a man. I can't even change my kids.
Right.
You know,
They got to be wanting to do it
have
for themselves. Men and women alike.
People have to genuinely want to be different than they are. They have to notice. They have to recognize the problem within them in order for them to then decide that they want to make a difference.
How do you gain confidence back after
Down.
being broken down for so
Down.
long?
I
Let
don't
me
know.
tell you how to
'cause-
get. No, wait a minute. Let me do this.
Okay.
Put on some Beyonce.
She don't work.
Mom,
That's not
I
true.
don't give
It
a fuck
don't,
to be
it don't matter who you put
I
on.
mean, because
You look yourself in the mirror. You don't have to put on makeup or nothing. You just say, I'm beautiful no matter. Okay.
You fill yourself up with
You
God.
feel yourself. If you ever see any of my videos, I always say I'm feeling myself. And I say I feel myself every motherfucking day. Because I do. When I'm at my worst, I feel myself. That's all you gotta do. Gain your confidence back. Love yourself. Feel yourself. I love myself even when I'm going through
You
it.
gotta lift yourself up is what you really have to do. You have to get it to the point where you take your power back. And the way you get your power back is by understanding who you are and whose you are. And the way you do that is by learning.
Being you.
But you gotta learn you. And you gotta learn to love
I know
you.
me.
I'm at the point where
Yeah.
I'm going back
But
to.
you lost you for a while.
But I still knew.
But you lost you. You had to find yourself again. Though. What?
And that's my
Somebody
path.
said
That's what I'm
somebody-
doing.
No,
I'm
that's
on the
not-
way of
that's
refinding
not-
myself.